that we have to face with deploying AI across Africa. I think I'll pause there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that's an exciting solution that you put forward, and you've mentioned some of the challenges around. I just want to specifically ask you one question around, of course, one is if you think about the solution for scalability, right? And then you need the adoption. So other than the data privacy issues, governance that needs to come into the countries, are there certain level of literacy these physicians or community health workers need to have in terms of, having, acceptance of that voice, using that voice AI? And is that voice AI different? For example, when people transcribe notes, right? You think about it specifically, what you want your outputs to be and what you want those results to be captured. Is there inherently a lot of bias inputted by just capturing voice that's not very structured, right? Is there an impetus for medical institutions or within the clinical practices training these community health workers, physicians on how to specifically transcribe to voice, have them understand what the tool's benefits are, and so forth? So really on the education side, what do you think needs to happen to scale this and reduce bias?
Dr. Maraki, so sorry to interrupt. Can we keep the questions until after the next presentation?
Okay,
you can
sure.
just ask all the
We can do that.
Yeah.
I think it's better. Sure. So keep that in mind, Toby, and I'll go to Dr. Minyahel, please. Quickly, also something quite interesting in Ethiopia. So if I can read Dr. Minyahel's bio quickly. So as I said, he's a senior implementation research scientist and digital health leader, specializing in the development and deployment of artificial intelligence and digital health solutions for low-resource healthcare settings. He currently serves as a member of Ethiopia's National Artificial Intelligence in Healthcare Programs Technical Working Group at the Federal Ministry of Health in Ethiopia. He contributes to the design, evaluation, and scale-up of evidence-based AI interventions. He leads, as I said, the AI Innovation Lab at AHRI, where he advances ethical, explainable, and scalable AI technologies across both clinical, public health, and One Health domains. So his work includes leading the real-world evaluation of an AI-powered electrocardiography ECG interpretation tool, which is really exciting to hear from him, for early cardiovascular disease detection, and is spearheading an AI-driven clinical decision support system for rational antibiotic prescribing to combat AMR. So for this innovation, he received actually an Intellectual Property Rights Award for AI-powered point-of-care antibiotic prescribing solutions in Ethiopia hospitals, and it was funded by Grand Challenges Ethiopia. So without further ado, maybe if I can give voice to Dr. Minyahel Taddese to walk us through what the AI Innovation Hub has been doing and piloting, and then we'll leave the questions to the end. Dr. Minyahel.
Okay, let me share my slides. Thank you, Maraki, and all the staff at Adanas Group for this wonderful session organized. I will briefly go through what AHRI has been doing on the scope of AI-powered clinical solutions for point-of-care healthcare services in the Ethiopian healthcare system, and what is behind the inspiration for establishing this AI Innovation Lab, and what the lab is about all. So our lab is all about transforming the Ethiopian healthcare system, and why we need the AI Innovation Lab at this critical juncture is of three critical points. It's because of the rising non-communicable diseases and infectious disease burden combined in Ethiopian healthcare context, the diagnostic and decision-making gaps that are leading to inconsistent, less accurate, and poor health outcomes, and the need for ethical, a context-aware artificial intelligence that is used to optimize disease diagnosis and treatment at the point of care. What our innovation lab does is it is serving as an emerging national hub for responsible healthcare artificial intelligence solution that is used to optimize healthcare services across the clinical and public health context, including the One Health spectrum. The research, capacity building, and governance are the three key strategic pillars we are about to provide to the healthcare system in Ethiopia and all the development partners. And central to the research, capacity building, and governance in our AI Innovation Lab is co-creation of the AI solution with the healthcare system impact. Co-creation, in a sense, we work and develop the solution together with the end users of the solution, the regulatory oversight at the various decision-making scope in the healthcare system of Ethiopia, and also the data scientists, researchers, and innovators all on board in a particular healthcare team. For instance, if we would like to develop for any artificial intelligence solution for non-communicable diseases, we have on board on the table all the concerned stakeholders together to have their input from the grassroots of the solution development. So our mission is to advance equitable and trustworthy AI for person-centered healthcare in Ethiopian healthcare system. And our approach is a co-design or co-development with clinicians and policymakers involving the data scientists and AI solution providers, both within Ethiopia and overseas, that is embedded in real-world clinical workflow solution. We always ambitiously try to test solutions we develop at an open source setting and try to translate that into real-world clinical setting and understand the barriers and enablers of piloting and potential scalable implications at a real-world clinical setting. And with that, we use a strong ethical oversight, explainability implications, and implementation focus particularly attributable to the frontline care providers, including the advanced trainees and frontline care providers at the primary healthcare system. So with this, one of the leading innovations that we showcase in Ethiopian healthcare context, and we have received ethical approval from the research institutes that I'm currently working in, and also the National Ethical Research Committee of the Ethiopia, and the Continental Ethical Oversight that is under the South African Medical Research Council, involves the project called the AI Sustain CBD Care, which is a web-based artificial intelligence solution for a 12-lead electrocardiography interpretation, which is deployed in 10 Ethiopian hospitals that we have tried for the time being to tie specialized referral hospitals with general hospitals for the take of trying to test how this solution really works when higher level decision makers, clinical decision makers, are combined with somewhat less specialized clinical context before we tailor overall learning to the primary healthcare system, where the early detection of cardiovascular disease is of high burden, and a real-world referral system is quite less prevalent. And to train and enable the frontline care providers, especially in the primary healthcare system, to have a seamless awareness of early picking of cardiovascular indications that are powered by artificial intelligence, and provision of the latest state-of-the-art ECG interpretation support, ECG machine that the conventional ECG machines are not able to provide the digital data, standardized data output that the AI automation or AI optimization tool doesn't support. So we have to purchase 10 latest digital ECG machine with standard data output to train our AI system from real-world patient data. So this AI solution detects the 10 major cardiovascular indications that are of global indications in terms of its burden, also for local indications with similar burden, but with major impact to the context of Ethiopian population demography, with economic implications, with health system strengthening implications, and seamlessly enhancing the care package for frontline providers. So this ultimately supports the early diagnosis and referral for primary and general hospitals, and it improves diagnostic accuracy at specialized referral hospitals, in which the cardiologists are picking the various cardiovascular indications early compared to the conventional cardiovascular paper-based ECG interpretation they do at their point of clinical care. Two of our overarching projects that we are running in terms of infectious diseases is we are trying to tackle the global burden of antibiotic resistance and trying to augment and tackle that through a locally led explainable artificial intelligence solution that supports point of care antibiotic prescription decision for clinicians at point of care. So how the model works, we have trained the Ethiopian antibiotic treatment guideline, the Ethiopian various antibiogram data, combined with the clinician expertise combined, and trained the artificial intelligence model in open source first. Then now we are on the pilot stage to roll it out to the hospitals in the general context. That means the secondary tier hospitals where you have less specialists in terms of like lack of infectious disease specialists, and specialists of various clinical indications where very few amount of well-trained clinicians to make advanced clinical decisions are present. So in this case, the AI Cure project or the AI Cure solution will provide the healthcare workers with the state-of-the-art clinical decision support to prescribe the right antibiotic for the right clinical indication that is benchmarked with the right microbiology result report from the microbiology laboratory. So we correspond the real world validation of the microbiologist reading for that particular pathogen that is causing that particular bacterial infection, and also the interpretation support of the artificial intelligence. So we do a human oversight validation of the clinical decision support for antibiotic prescription provided by the AI solution, and validate that with the human oversight involving both microbiologists at the frontline clinical facility and also well-trained general practitioner with strong background of well-taken microbiology reading. Another one is the AI Heals AMR solution, in which we have trained the antimicrobial treatment guideline for human, animal, and environment contexts. And this will ultimately aim to tackle antibiotic resistance in the lens of One Health, which is a global agenda to tackle a triangulated approach of antibiotic resistance, which is becoming a global public health threat, of course, taken as a silent pandemic that is causing havoc to the healthcare system. And to address this, we have trained the WOA, the World Animal Organization guideline for antibiotic management during the clinical management of the veterinary clinical management of animal infections from animals, and also infections from human and infections from environment combined. We have used nearly 500 standardized open source data to train our AI model. Then we developed this AI Heals AMR motivated or initiated stewardship tool and surveillance platform to test on certain contexts in the AMR platform of the environment, the human and the animal context, and now trying to validate the AI reading with the human reading.